welcome back to another episode. I'm going to be doing something a little bit differently this time. I'm not going to fix something, I'm actually going to build something. So, what I've always liked to do is build either a small or even a big project off of scrap wood that I have in my house, or maybe even in my shop. What I'm going to be building today is a floating shelf with a hidden compartment in it. So basically, you can stick whatever you want inside it. It's still going to be a little bit visible, but it's going to plop down so that you can put like candles in it. I'm making this for my wife so she can put her flowers on top and then maybe put candles in, or accessories for the flower pots. But basically, first things first, I'm going to start off. I'm using 3/4 wood, and I want to make it 21 inches long. So basically, what you want to do is, since you're using 3/4 wood, you're going to have two sides that butt up. So it's actually going to add 3/4 on one side and 3/4 on another. So what you want to do is, when you cut your bottom piece and even your top piece, you're going to want to do it at 19 and a half if you're going to try to get 21, because you have to compensate for that 3/4 on each side. So now that you have your two pieces cut at 19 and a half, now you have to do the length for the front and the back piece. So that's going to equal out to 21 inches, because that's how long you want your shelf to. So with those 3/4 pieces on each side of your bottom and your top, you're going to have 21 inches spread out wide. So you can go ahead and cut your front and your back so that you can put those on together. All right, now the last thing you need to cut is your two sides. Now, since they're all the same length, your width is going to be 6 inches. So you know to cut them at 6 inches. So you'll have two cuts at 6 inches, and that'll be your sides. Okay, the next step is you're going to want to assemble the bottom piece to the two side pieces. Easiest way to do that, of course, is with a nail gun, which I'll be using. Another way to do it is with pocket screws. Now, if you don't have a nail gun, I recommend using 3 pocket screws. One on the left side, one in the middle, and one on the right side. So I'm actually going to do both because it helps keep the shelf strong. I'm going to put pocket screws on this side and this side, leave the middle. Easiest way to do it, though, if you have a nail gun, is set up a stopper. That way you can line both the front, because you want at least the front to be level. Once you line the front, you can go ahead and put it together. That way you know it's even on each side. The next, you're going to want to put a pocket screw, at least in the middle. That's going to keep it very strong on you so it doesn't fall apart, because you don't want just two nails holding this whole thing together. So once you've nailed it together like I did, it's now time to do the pocket screws. So I like to do one at the top and at the bottom. So you're going to line it up, use your pocket hole puncher here. And do the same thing on the other side. This is allowing strength at both sides of your shelf. Now imagine you're sitting a lot of things on top of the shelf. You don't want it to cave in. This is going to help, especially you're going to do the same thing at the top when you put the top piece on. So it keeps the strength of the shelf together. After you do that, you're going to add your screws and you have one side. You're going to do the same thing to the other side. And then I'll show you how to. All right, after you've done your pocket holes, you're going to, now the next step is to screw them in. You want to make sure that your face is flushed. If it's not, you can always sand it down, but you want to be as flush as you can to the front, because that's where your face is going to come on, and that needs to be perfect. So once you have these screwed in at the bottom, you see how it doesn't have any flexibility now. It's all strung together and it's flush up at the top. Now the best thing to do while you have it open here at the bottom is to sand it all down. Now the reason you want to do that now instead of putting the top on is it's going to be a lot harder for you to start finishing all this work with the top on it. So you want to make sure you get the inside done, and while you're at it, you might as well get the sides and the bottom done. So next thing to do is the next part you're going to want to do is you want to install these hidden cabinet hinges. You can get these at Home Depot for $9.38 depending on where you are. These are perfect for a hidden door so that you can't see it from the outside. Now, there's several ways to do this. I like to take out the guesswork by making sure that this officially lines up. So what I did, you're seeing the back. This is the front. And what I did was clamp the front and the back together so it's pushed up against the sides. By allowing this, I'm keeping all this still so that all I have to do is focus on the hinges. Now there's several ways you can do this. You measure left, right, up, down, and then drill your holes and then put this on. I like to take out all the guesswork. Maybe your measurements are a little off and then you have to redo it and then you have holes. So I like to just do the minimal holes as possible. This might take a little bit more time, but at least you're doing it once. So what I did was I cut out a little jig about 2 inches because I wanted 2 inches off the sides. So what you do is you tuck that on the side, line your hinge up with it, and you have your 2 inches. And you do the same thing on the other side. Now by clamping this, I usually don't have another set of hands. So it's good to have your hands clamped with something so you're not moving around a lot. Now you only have to focus on the hinge, making sure that it's drilled down and drilled to the face. I'm gonna drill these down, and once you got the hinges in, now it's time to test it. So these are slow closing hinges. So all you have to do is lift it up. Once you hear the snap, you let it go, and it's gonna go flush to the sides. Once you know that is perfect, the next step is to put the tops in and the back. But before you put the back in, it's good to sand all this down because you're going to want to stain it or paint it. If that's the case, while you have the top and the back off, go ahead and sand all of this. And then if you wanted to, you could go ahead and throw the top in, which you're going to do the same thing as you did at the bottom. You got to use the pocket holes. And then if you have the staple gun, you're going to staple them in so it holds everything tight before you do it. But let me put all that together so you can see this all. Now that you've secured the top with your pocket holes on each side, now is where the fun begins. This is where you create the color that you want, put it on there, whether it's stain, whether it's paint. I recommend stain just because of the type of wood that you're using. It really goes good with stain. Cover up your holes, use some wood putty, sand it down really nice. I like to go over the whole thing with 125 grit and then go all the way up to about 400 grit. And that leaves a nice finish to where it won't be clustered. After that, I hit a gloss finish on it, and you're good to go. But that's how you make a floating shelf with a hidden cabinet inside. Let me know how you like it, and like, share, subscribe, and let me know what you think.